Well, thanks, Chris, and good afternoon, everyone. The man who'd really like to be here and whose shoes I could not fill is Elson Floyd, but given that this is a university and a multifaceted organisation where we conduct a lot of research and engage in instruction, some of our research deals with infectious disease. So we know why no person is immune to disease, and unfortunately our president has been afflicted to such an extent today that he could not be here, and he's asked me to pinch hit. But if ever somebody wanted to be right here now, it's Elson Floyd. So I'll try to do my best to fill in for him. One reason I would like him to be here is because he needs to see how full this ballroom can be, and to challenge you all to make it a priority to be back here on game days in the fall of 2012. Make it a plan. I think it's also particularly fitting that we're here in what is the students' building, because while it's athletics that brings us here today, as I said, Washington State University is a multifaceted organisation. At times we get to celebrate academic accomplishments as they pertain to our students and our faculty. Other times we support and cheer and applaud athletic accomplishment as it's presented on the field or in the arena, the competitive arena, by our student athletes and their coaching staffs. And of course we're here today to welcome the newest member of one of our team's coaching staff, Mr. Mike Leach, and his family. I mentioned the fact that students and athletics are clearly and undeniably linked because athletics is, make no bones about it, is one of the biggest windows through which our external constituents, particularly prospective Washington State students, view this university. And that's why we get involved in it, because the two are linked. It's undeniable. And that's why it's a particularly big day, and it's so great to see so many students here, because they're here to learn and they're here to support our athletic teams, their student colleagues, and it's part of what is the essence of being a Cougar. Now, before I introduce the athletic director to make the formal introductions, there are a couple of other announcements I'd like to make. First of all, it would be extremely remiss of me if I did not introduce the number one fan of all Cougar athletic teams. And Coach, you've got to know this, and Sharon and children, you will get to know this fan. She's also the First Lady of Washington State University, Carmenta Floyd. Carmenta knows what's going on in every field of competition, regardless of the team. And you students should feel particularly blessed to have her as your biggest fan. So Carmenta, please stand and be recognised. The only other, I'll say, semi-official announcement I want to make is, and this is for all the fans, and you are all fans, otherwise I think it's unlikely you'd be here. I've looked it up, and this is for sure, that International Talk Like a Pirate Day is September the 19th in 2012. Right. That's right in the middle of football season, and by then I expect we'll be at least 3-0. No challenges there. Now, and finally, it's now my pleasure to introduce our athletic director, Bill Moose. The president wanted me to be sure to point out that he only gave Bill one instruction. That was, Bill, go get us the best coach in the country. And Bill, you did it. Congratulations and thanks. Bill Moose.
Don't worry, Katie, they're not booing me. That's Moose. It is unfortunate that President Floyd could not be here today. I called him this morning. He did not sound good, but he was excited, and I had an opportunity to once again thank the President for the great support and the confidence he has put in myself to lead the Department of Intercollegiate Athletics at my alma mater, Washington State University. The search for a new football coach went fast. I only talked to one man, and I only wanted one man. And I told Kendra when I got back from a visit down Key West, incidentally, we're going to go back down there and spend some time, that beautiful part of the country. But it took me longer to get from Key West to Pullman than it did for me to get from San Francisco to Paris last summer. So once you're here, you're going to stay here for a bit, Mike and Sharon. But I had an engaging visit with Mike when we were down there, connected. His reputation and his resume is off the charts. I came back to Washington State to go to the Rose Bowl. And that's where we're going to go. We're going to have a lot of fun along the way. And the man that's going to take us there is to my left, like a warm welcome for our new head coach at Washington State University, Mike Leach.
We're ready for it. Well, thanks so much. All right, thanks. Well, I really appreciate that, and I know what you're all thinking. And the answer to that question is yes, this is exactly how I dress in Key West every day. Which kind of reminds me of when Bill came to town. You know, we agreed to meet, and he was going to go to a hotel, and then I find out the day before it's at the top of the island. I live at the bottom of the island, so bright and early in the morning, I saddled up on my bike, and I pedaled 4 miles, and you know, despite that, I guess not too much perspiration, and he went ahead and hired me anyway. I want to thank. I'm excited about the opportunity to work with Dr. Floyd, Dr. Bailey, and Bill Moose is legendary in this business, and you know, I've always wanted to work with a guy that's got the vision and direction that he does, and the pedigree. So I'm thrilled to death about that. I want to thank all the coaches that went before me. You know, that built the foundation here. I want to thank Paul Wolf and then, of course, the others, Bill Doba, Mike Price, Dennis Erickson, and Jim Walden, because they were a huge part in making this place the place that it is today. People ask me why Washington State, and once I get past in the back of my mind thinking, well, that's a stupid question. Then but I roll that through my mind and I don't say it, and then I immediately blurt out the very obvious answers. The commitment of excellence in every phase of the university, the excitement around the community, and the fact that you can win here and win big, I believe. And anyway, well, then my wife and kids, they're thrilled to death to be here. This is my wife, Sharon, my son, Cody, my daughter, Kirsten. I have 2 more daughters. One's at Texas Tech named Kim, and my other daughter, Janine, is a doctor doing her residency in Atlanta. With that said, I've never been a big opening statement guy because I find that the media goes ahead and asks whatever they want anyway. So with that, let's open it up to questions.
Coach, just to be back coaching again. I know everybody here is just thrilled. There's been a buzz for over a week now, but just for you personally, how excited are you to get back coaching?
I'm thrilled to be back coaching. I've enjoyed my 2 years, but that's a different dimension than coaching offers. Coaching, there's nothing like the unity and working together with a team. You've got players, you've got coaches and fans building a program into the best it can be with everybody doing the best they can, and I think that all for one for all is the part that you miss the most. I mean, there's big challenges, but there's big payoffs too, and the journey and the battle I think is exciting.
Coach, we sometimes hear new coaches talk about 5-year plans, something like that. Have you established a set of expectations here for this job?
Well, we got a couple things. I mean, one is I tend to have one-day plans, which is win one game a week, and. But I mean, obviously we're going to get coaches in place, so we have to do the recruiting effort. The thing that's always challenging is, you got a team and some great people you're going to work with and stuff like that, and you do the best you can to get to know them while simultaneously being on the road and trying to get as much as you can accomplished in the recruiting window. And but my plan pretty well is encompassed in 3 things. We talk about 3 goals. It's be a team, be the most excited to play, and it doesn't matter what you do, whether you're the butcher, the baker, or the candlestick maker. I think it's important to be excited about what you're doing and be the best at doing your job, and we're going to try to enhance our skills and advance that direction.
Hi, Coach. Sam Adams from SWX. Welcome to Pullman. I'd like to ask you, as far as Bill Moose said that a lot of people wanted you, you chose Washington State. Who else talked to you in the time that you were available in the off season?
It's a lot of people talk to me. I'm not going to really go into that. I mean, part of it is they're not comfortable with it, and there's a reason we keep this stuff confidential and bike to secret hotels, and that's that very reason would be so you don't know. So I figure we'll keep it that way.
Coach, if you can, just talk about kind of what a whirlwind, if it was, experience for you, becoming Washington State's head football coach.
It was a whirlwind. I mean, part of it, obviously there's, phone calls, and there's phone calls between, a number of people, people involved in athletics and, my end as well. And then simultaneously I was doing Sirius Radio. And then, but part of it is just kind of the roller coaster, I guess, of emotions. I mean, there's a lot of great jobs out there. You get excited, you hope it's going to work out, but then it may not, so you try to stay level. And, but I'm thrilled to be here. I mean, I'm from Cody, Wyoming, as some of you may know, which is practically local by the standards of this part of the country. And there's a lot of that. And then, of course, once it does hit, then your phone rings off the hook. I actually had a guy call me, and he says, or he texted me, he says, would you please hurry and hire your staff because I'm tired of my phone blowing up with all the people that want me to call you. And so there's a lot of phone calls between media and well-wishers and the rest. And so, yeah, it's pretty busy. It's pretty vigorous. You don't want disappoint anybody. You don't want to let anybody down, and try to just maintain the course through. But it's definitely exciting.
Coach, I know it's been a very short time, but in terms of looking at the staff that you're putting together, I see that tight ends, special teams coach is from Texas Tech. Now, was it UT is coming this way? Are you looking at others from your former staff at Texas Tech at this point?
Well, I'm going to look at some people that have worked with me, no question. The only guy I've really hired is my chief of staff, David Emmerich, who I've worked with since I was at the University of Kentucky, and he does a great job of organizing things and all the stuff off the field with regard to coordinating the staff and things like that. But there's a number of good candidates out there, and we're going to fill the staff as quickly as we can so we can mobilize the recruiting effort. And, and one thing in the transition of this, you don't want your team to, you don't want their focus to splinter apart. I mean, academics is obviously going to be important, staying in shape, and getting ready to go with everybody pushing the same direction. So, transition needs to be quick, but it's got to be precise because you want to have the right people involved so you get the most out of the program you can.
Coach, just curiously, over here on your left.
To my left, okay.
All the way.
Oh, there. That's the law. You're out of bounds.
Where does the fascination and, I guess, admiration of pirates come from for you?
These two people in the hats out here got me into. No, it kind of took on a life of its own. In football, you do a lot of different things, and so. And one of the most fascinating things to me in my meetings with players and things like that, I mean, everybody's got a different hobby, different skills, different things that they're good at, different backgrounds. Pirates way back when tended to come from all kinds of different backgrounds, and it was the one thing back then where there really wasn't much of a caste system because, you were trying to prevail and get as much treasure as you could. How it all happened was Michael Lewis, the fellow that wrote Moneyball, did a piece on me in New York Times Magazine. And he interviewed some of my players, and they mentioned a speech that I gave talking about pirates. And I had a sword, and it was a really cool sword, too. And it was a full-fledged sword. And so we talked about how are you going to swing your sword as kind of a metaphor to executing in football. Is it going to be frantic and out of control where you're wide open, or is it going to be one of these, And the notion that, focused execution is what's ideal, and then several other things and parallels that we talked about. And then when he talked about that in his article, and it went worldwide, I got some of the greatest gear that you can imagine. I got a bunch of flags. I got books. I got Mickey Mouse ears with pirate stuff on it. Some lady in France mailed me a thing that looks kind of like a skull and crossbone and says, "Hey, I thought you'd just like to have this." And then I got a 6-foot-high skeleton that Pat Knight gave me, and it was a skeleton dressed in pirate gear that had a motion sensor. And so when it was dark, if you walked by it at night, the eyes would light up, and he'd start talking to you. And we'd be in the room next door watching film late at night, and the cleaning lady would come clean my office. And all of a sudden, you'd hear that pirate in the next room, "Oi, matey," and his lights are flashing, and she's screaming, And she enjoyed the pirate too. And then all kinds of really cool gear. Then in the stands, there'd be flags and people enjoying it. It was just it was a thing that kind of took off, a life of its own. All I really did was give a speech one time, but it got publicized to the point, and we had kind of a rallying point, and the fans had fun with it, and us and the players had fun with it too.
Now, Coach, obviously with your success, especially at Texas Tech, over the years, your name comes up with almost any job open in college. We know you were here last year working at camp here in Pullman. Can you kind of talk about what you saw last year while you were up here, and what really was it that Bill Moose said to you to convince you that Washington State really was the right place for you to return to coaching?
Well, I went a number of places, to speak, and then sometimes camps, clinics, and things like that. I like the spirit of the people, the spirit of the campus around here, and then, certainly, every year you wish for all coaches to be as successful as they possibly can, but the reality of the business is there's going to be some level of change, and you just don't know, where it's going to occur, how it's going to occur. But I was excited. I was excited about the people I met. I was excited about the potential. This last year, excited about the conference. The Pac-12 was very assertive in establishing its position in college football. There wasn't any of this, monkeying around as far as, what's our identity, what's our future going to be. They went out and grabbed it, and several conferences that failed to do that, are having some struggles right now trying to hold it together. I love the direction of the conference, and those outside the business may not know Bill's reputation, but it's, he's the guy everybody wants to work for. He's the guy that has the vision of the program and everybody pulling together, and, no real bureaucracy and stuff like that. And, I just thought it was an incredible opportunity, and this part of the country is exciting. And then when my family read and talked about it, it was exciting to them. I mean, the two kids here, of all things, said, "Oh, excellent, let's go there. It's got snow," and no, there's no snow today. You have to look away. If you can't see the snow, go get your eyes checked.
Mike, do you how often have you been to Pullman before, and what are your plans after tonight in Seattle?
I've been to Pullman twice. Once Mike Price had a clinic. It was a stroke of genius. What he did is he brought out everybody that threw the ball. He'd bring out representatives from different conferences that threw the ball, coaches, and they were pretty forthcoming. Met a lot of people there then, and stayed here, and staffs that were throwing the ball down around got to pick each other's brains, share ideas. And then I was here one other time recruiting, and I'm trying to think. I was here very briefly, and it had, if I recall correctly, there was a JC recruit, back home over the break, that type of thing, and came through very quickly. I've been a lot of places in the state of Washington, in Pullman just a few times, but I got to see it pretty well the first time I was here. We'll go to Washington, do a press conference, then we'll fly home for a couple days, and then I'll get back here the weekend, and hopefully some staff members with me, and hit the road hard and get some new Cougars.
Coach, you showed a good knowledge of the coaches who came here before you, so you're probably aware that there have been at least 3 occasions where coaches have come in, put the program in an area of excitement and expectation, and then bolted for greener pastures. So what can you say to all these people who are here, excited to have you here, that that's not going to happen this time?
Well, I'm excited to be here, and it's just like anywhere you're at. I mean, just keep building, and it's exciting, and it's just like when I was at Texas Tech. We won 29 games in the last 3 years. I wasn't in a hurry to go anywhere, and so I'm excited to be here and excited to stay here, and we're off to a great start and building great things, but none of that happens without the partnership of the fans and the people in the stands. I mean, that it can't just be done by players and coaches. You know, it's where the fans, the entire university share in the whole experience, where it's the most rewarding and where things really take off and start reaching different levels. And so, I mean, you know, that's what's exciting to me, and I think that that's all going to ignite, and everybody's going to have a fun ride in the course of it. But, you know, you go into that stadium, and there's all kinds of fans that, you know, are sharing and appreciating the whole experience. You know, it's a lot of fun, and I'm sure that's going to be the case here. That's it. All right. Well, thanks a lot. Look forward to seeing y'all, and thanks for having me.